Hello and welcome to the Mindful Men Podcast, a show inspiring men to be mindful about their lives. Each week, we'll dive into a range of topics that matter to men and hear from everyday people doing extraordinary things. So if you love the show, please give it a 5-star rating and share it with your mates. Now, before we get into this week's episode, please note that some of the content may trigger you. And if this happens, please reach out to your support networks. It's really important. If you can't get enough of Mindful Men, head over to our website. It's www.mindful-men.com.au. Find the show notes and the links to our socials there. But for now, sit back, relax, and let's get mindful. G'day guys, and welcome to another episode of the Mindful Men Podcast. I'm your host Simon Rinnie, and today I'm getting mindful about beating those pesky Sunday blues. Now, this is timely because it is Monday, so I've got a bit of Monday-itis about today, and that usually starts on Sunday, giving me those Sunday blues. And I know so many people out there experience this as well. They get to Sunday, maybe around lunchtime, and they start feeling the dread of the week ahead. And this is something that we can actually combat. This is something that we can get rid of and actually look forward to our week. So I'm going to share a bit about how you can do that, and in particular, beat those Sunday blues. So what are the Sunday blues? I just hinted on that. But it is that feeling of dread that the work week's about to start, or the school week's about to start, or the university week, whatever kind of week is in it for you. In fact, even when we go on holidays, we can get to a point in our holidays where we start getting those blues because we have to finish the holidays and come back to reality, whatever that reality looks like. So what causes all this? I guess a lot of it's associated with work or dissatisfaction with our work. For many years, I was hugely dissatisfied with my job, my career. I felt like I was no longer climbing the ladder when I really wanted to, and things were just same old, same old. It could be challenging relationships at work, challenging work itself, or unfulfilling work. It could be a disconnect in the values that you have with the work that you do, or the organization that you work with, or the people that you work with, and your own personal values. It could be this notion around financial stress and the feeling that we need to go to work because of the financial stress, even if we don't want to be there. Or maybe you have sick kids, or you're sick yourself and you almost need to drag yourself to work because you've run out of sick leave, or you have to take a day of unpaid leave because you've run out of all your leave, and so you've got to look after your kids or yourself, and you don't get any money that day. And so there's the financial stress combined with, say, a life stress as well. We've had sick kids the last couple of weeks here at home, and we're trying to juggle work and looking after our children as well. And so that becomes a stress, and that feeds into Sunday blues and then ultimately Monday-itis. And so these are things that can cause those Sunday blues. And I even get them. Like, I've had them for, I want to say decades. I've always had the Sunday blues, but they have shifted over time for me. Historically, they've been all the things that I've just reeled off, like the dissatisfaction of work and challenging work relationships. My mental health has hugely played into that as well, something that I've been trying to manage for a long time. And that feeds into that. My OCD, depression, anxiety, it feeds into this notion of Sunday blues. And when I burnt out as well, it felt like every day was a Sunday blue. But more recently, I still get them. I still get these Sunday blues, but it's not because I'm dissatisfied with work or anything like that. It's more for me as a small business owner now and a therapist. It's more just trying to juggle everything to do with small business. So it's things like showing up for my clients and making sure that I've got all the resources I need, the energy I need, and just the drive to keep being the best person I can be for the guys that I work with. It's the admin stuff. It's the marketing. It's the recruitment. I'm currently doing a recruitment round, so I'm trying to recruit another therapist for Mindful Men to expand our reach. And so it's going through all those things. It's podcasting as well. Like, this has been on my mind quite a bit, is do I continue or do I stop? Everything comes to an end at some point, and I've been thinking or wondering whether or not the podcast is for the long term. Interestingly, as I've been thinking about this, I've had a few people reach out to me lately and give me some great feedback on the podcast, which makes me feel like I'm on the right track. It just feels like a daily grind at the moment. So that's been giving me a bit of the Sunday blues, even though I record in all sorts of weird and wonderful times during my week as well. But I know we can beat them. And this is kind of some of the stuff that I talk about with the guys that I work with is how do we beat these blues that we get, whether it's a Sunday blues, a Monday blues, Friday blues. I've got a few guys that work weekend type work. And so their Monday is like a Thursday for them. And there's a few ways we can do it. And I've got 5 things that we can do to beat those Monday blues, which I'll go through with you in just a sec. But before I do, a quick plug for the podcast. You are listening on a podcast, and I thank you for listening out there. As I said before, I had some feedback from a few people regarding some of the episodes recently, which really lit me up. And if we want to keep doing this, keep growing the podcast, we do really need to get as much, 5-star reviews or ratings for the podcast. So if you could do that today, that would be absolutely amazing. Help us climb the rankings ladder, which means more and more people can see it when they're searching for a new podcast. And that means they're tuning into the stories that we share, whether it's a solo episode like today or something with a guest. Share the episodes around as well. Tag me on your social media. Let me know what you're getting out of it, because sometimes podcasting can be like a big Sunday blue. Like you do a lot of work to release this content into the world, and sometimes you hear crickets. And a lot of podcasters say this. It is something that is a grind, but at the same time, I love it. So help me keep loving it by sharing the love around and, giving us a 5-star rating and review if you can. That would be wonderful. So back into the beating the Sunday blues with 5 ideas that you can put in place. And these are 5 things that I do as well to try and beat those Sunday blues. And the first one is acknowledging them as a social construct. Now, what am I talking about? It's something that we've made up. The Sunday blues is something that mankind or humankind has made up. We've learned to hate Sundays and Mondays because of the meaning that we apply to those days. And so by naming it that it's a social construct, we can then tame it. This is something that we've just made up. So when we do this, when we recognize this, we start to disempower the meaning that we associate with the Sunday blues. And we just say, instead of it being the Sunday blues or Monday-itis, we just say, hey, it's Sunday and tomorrow's Monday. Yesterday was Saturday, etc., etc. These are just days of the week. So acknowledge it as a social construct. We name it so that we can tame it. And you would have heard me say this many a times on the podcast. It is such a powerful thing because the meanings we apply to words are the things that bring us down or lift us up. The next one is looking at your week through a positive lens as opposed to a negative lens. And this is hard for those of us that look at the glass as being half empty instead of half full, but it is possible. Let me tell you how I do it at the moment to beat my Sunday blues. So what I do is Sunday comes and I look at my calendar for the week. And I do that because I'm at home and I have a small business, so my calendar is readily available. Whereas if you go to an employer and your calendar is at your work computer, I guess you could just do it Monday morning or just think ahead to what you might have on your cards for this coming week. And for me, I look at my client list and I look at I've got this many clients on one day and this many clients on another day. I look at which ones are telehealth, which ones I'm out and about in community, which ones I'm in a clinic for. Each client, I look for what we could potentially be talking about. So I'm planning ahead. And to do that, I look at one of the nuggets of gold from our previous session. Maybe it's a thought that they had or a comment that they made or some growth that I witnessed in our last session. And so for each client, I do that. And it gives me something to look forward to in terms of therapy and what we can explore this week that's coming. And that really does light me up. It enables me to see the growth in my clients, but also the potential growth through our next session. Another one is looking for fun. So looking at my week and going, where's fun this week? And so for me, it's surfing. Everyone knows that I love my surfing. In fact, yesterday, it was a Sunday, and I went for a morning surf up at Noosa. It was absolutely beautiful. And I look forward to Wednesdays. That's my allocated surf day is a Wednesday morning. And I do that pretty much every week. I think I've only missed 1 or 2 since we started this at the end of last year. And I just look forward to it. I look forward to going there and connecting with a few of the guys that I surf with and having a coffee and just having an easy start to my Wednesday mornings. I also coach under 7 soccer, so I look forward to Wednesday afternoon, which is when soccer training is, or Fridays, I think it was Fridays or Thursdays where we take the kids to swimming and they do their swimming lessons. So I look forward to those things and being a dad and just hanging out with the kids in those spaces as well. I also look for opportunities in my week. So if I have a bit of a gap, and usually my brain would go, oh no, you've got a gap there. Wish you had a client so that you could be making money. As a small business owner, money is very important. But also I now look for opportunities where I can catch up. So if a client cancels or if I need to reschedule a client for whatever reason, I then have a gap in my calendar and I look forward to those to either do some self-care or catch up with some admin or do some marketing or maybe make a few phone calls, catch up on a few referrals, just catch up. I look at these as opportunities now to do something positive and meaningful that sets me up for the next week and the week after that. When we choose to focus on things like that, so for things that lift us up or fill our cups or are opportunities for something new, it brings more positivity into our week. And this is great. We can choose what we focus on. If we get to those Sunday blues and we focus on all the negatives, then that's where our brain is naturally going to go. And once our brain goes there, then the emotions come and our body goes there as well. But if we choose to focus on the positives, that can really light us up. The next one is enjoying our Sunday by doing something fun. I touched on yesterday, I went for a surf up at Noosa. I'm a beginner surfer. I've been surfing since August last year, so it's been quite a while. And in fact, someone said, oh, you must be getting really good at surfing. And I'm still learning my trait. It's going to take a while because I only get out once, maybe twice a week if I'm lucky. But I love going up to Noosa because the waves are a little bit more predictable than, say, the main part of the Sunshine Coast, which is where I live. So I usually surfing between Alex Heads and Markoola. It can be a little bit hairy in those waves. But up at Noosa, it's a little bit calmer. It's a little bit more chill. I guess that's why Noosa is the surfing capital of the Sunshine Coast. And I love just being out there. It was pretty small yesterday in terms of the waves, but I was out the back, just enjoying bobbing up and down, really being present in the moment. I was watching the other surfers catch their waves. So I'm trying to get some hints and tips from what they're doing as well. The water was nice and clear. The sun was shining. It was an absolutely amazing day. In the distance, I can see my kids playing on the beach in the shallows and my wife having a bit of time out for herself on the sand as well. It's really just fun. And when we're doing something fun, it takes our mind off the Sunday blues and the Monday-itis. It allows us to experience life because that's what we're really here to do, is experience life, not just wade through time, getting from one challenge to another. We're actually here to have fun and experience it. So when you're out doing something fun, and I implore you, pick something fun that lights you up, whether it's surfing or going out for coffee with a friend, going to a museum or art gallery, climbing a mountain, going for a walk, a bike ride, even playing video games, whatever it is for you that is fun, really immerse yourself in it. Allow yourself to smile and to feel the moment of joy, to laugh, to cry if you need to. Just really immerse yourself in. And some tips that I've got to immerse myself is I take off my watch, for example, so I don't know what the time is. And if I can, I leave my phone in the car, or I leave my phone in my bag or in my pocket. I don't get it out. I'm not looking for what the time is and what the next activity is. I'm just trying to be as present I can in that fun. And sometimes you find that time stands still, which allows you to just be in that moment and having fun and not worrying about the Sunday blues or Monday-itis. The next one is being present. And I always say to the clients that I work with is just be where your feet are. Often our minds will go forward to the things that are coming up this week, the things that we're dreading. This is why we've got the Sunday blues. But if we can just ground ourselves and be where our feet are, because our feet are only ever there in the present, we can come back from the future and stop stressing or worrying or getting anxious about what's coming and just enjoying what's here and now. And a lot of this can be done with really exploring the present using your 5 senses. And there's a few ways that you can do this. So being mindful in conversations, really hear the people that are talking to you and that you're engaging with. Our kids are great for this because they might come up with a funny story or a funny joke or something that's really exciting. Explore that with them. Ask them questions. Engage in those conversations. If it's with your partner, engage with their week. What have they achieved in the last week, or what do they want to achieve next week? Keep it positively focused. What are they looking forward to in the near future? What are you looking forward to in the near future as well? Be mindful in your conversations and don't get stuck in the dread conversations that some of us get stuck in. And that's a human response, but we want to kind of break free from that and focus on the positive. Another one's mindful eating. So it's using our 5 senses to eat. And usually the Sunday dreads come around lunchtime. So it could be lunchtime or dinner time. You could be having those Sunday blues while you're eating dinner, thinking about Monday-itis and the week to come. But what you can do is just be really mindful in how you're eating. So ways that you can do that is to smell the food, that you're about to eat or the drink that you're about to drink. Maybe it's a coffee, for example. Once you put it in your mouth, is really focus on the textures and the tastes. Is it sweet, salty, sour? Focus on the textures, as I said before. Like, is it bumpy, smooth? Is it cold? Is it hot? And really focus in on that. Like with a big microscope, you really want to hone in on those senses. Can you touch your food? Are you eating a burger or something like that? Something in your hands where you can feel the bun under your skin. Is it the sesame seeds on top of the bun? Or is it something that's crispy, crunchy? Actually tune into the experience of eating. This is mindful eating. They say that you chew things 10 times to feel fuller quicker. It's the same thing with mindful eating, is really involve yourself in exploring all your 5 senses when you're eating, even how food looks, for example, and the sounds of eating, like something crunching, for example, to be where your feet are. That brings us back into the present, which is really awesome. And then if your mind's still ticking after dinner, it's the dishwashing as well. It's such a mundane task, but it's mindfully tuning into dishwashing. And what you can do there is fill the sink up with warm water or hot water, and then the soaps that you get from the dishwashing liquid. Really experience that in terms of its sight, its sounds, its feel on the fingers as you put your hands into the sink. As you're washing each dish, really look at what does a dish look like? What does it feel like? Are there bumps? Is it smooth? The smells of dishwashing as well. You can smell the dishwashing liquid. Hopefully it's a nice smelling dishwashing liquid, but just be present in that moment. It can really take your mind off those Sunday blues and the Mondayitis through such a mundane task. Another great one is, for any Queenslanders, they like to mow their lawns in the evening time just because it's a little bit less hot. I mean, we are coming into winter at the moment, so it's not too bad. But yeah, getting outside and doing something like that and smelling the freshly cut grass can really just bring you back from Mondayitis and from the Sunday blues into the present moment. The last one I want to touch on is self-care. So Sunday blues come in, and often it's a good moment to go, oh, have I exercised lately, for example? Sunday blues and Mondayitis come along with extra pent-up energy. So can you go out for a walk just before dinner or just after dinner? Be outside, get the last bit of vitamin D for the day, get some fresh air. I'm really lucky we did that yesterday, for example, with the family. We went down just before dinner and had a bit of a beach walk for half an hour and just played out there, and the kids were picking up little sand crabs and having a bit of a laugh. We took the football down there, so I was kicking it up and down on the sand, and then sat down with my wife for a little while and just had a bit of a chat. Can you do something just before dinner just to expend that last little bit of exercise? Can you end the day with gratitude? What was great about Sunday? What's going to be great about tomorrow? Find something, even if it's so small, like that first cup of coffee in the morning, or that feeling you get after that gym session on a Monday morning. Might be a bit of a struggle to get out of bed and go do it, but afterwards it can really light you up. You're energetic, starting your Monday with some energy after a hard gym session, or run or walk or bike ride or whatever it is that you do for some self-care. Have a Sunday night ritual. Something that you look forward to, whether it's meditation, whether it's journaling. My wife and I love a moon milk. So Naked Harvest do this great moon milk. It's like a chocolate drink that we have, and it promotes good, healthy sleep. And we love it. Like, it does help us relax. And so we look forward to that. Another thing is watching something funny on TV. Most of us spend our Sunday nights in front of the TV. Can you do something that's going to make you laugh? Watch something that's going to make you laugh. Laughter really lights us up. It helps us to breathe and regulate our breathing, but it also fills us with joy. So find something that's going to make you laugh and end your Sunday on a big positive note. The last one is going to bed and actually looking forward to being in bed. And this can help if you've got nice, clean, fresh sheets on. So you've done the washing and you get in and it's nice. It's like you jump into bed for the first time at a hotel. Everything's nice and clean and crisp and it's just wonderful. Enjoy being in bed. You're snuggled up, you're warm, you're about to get a good night's sleep, and look forward to a good night's sleep. And know in yourself that you're safe in your little cocoon of bed. These things can bring you back to the present. Rather than focusing on the Sunday blues and the Mondayitis, it can really just bring you back to the present, make you feel good in that moment. Just appreciate being alive. And I guess on appreciation is that going to work tomorrow is not necessarily a bad thing. It's something that we do to make money, to better ourselves, to better other people, to feel like we have a purpose. And if you continually have the Sunday blues and the Mondayitis, maybe it's jumping into something like therapy with mindful men, where we can look at your values and your purpose and what needs to change so that you can no longer have these Sunday blues and the Mondayitis and then all the other itises from the rest of the week, the dread. Nothing changes if nothing changes. And so if you're continually getting this and things like this podcast aren't inspiring you enough to make a change for yourself, getting help through therapy or coaching is another great place to do that. Having that external support can be really helpful to change what's going on internally. But remember, Sunday blues, Mondayitis are social constructs. We've made them up. And so we can also change the way that we look at those days and engage with those days and do it through a positive lens. Now, as I said before, this podcast, it is a labor of love. It is laborious. It costs me money. It takes a lot of my time and energy, but I also love it because I love bringing you stories, whether they're my own stories or the stories of other people. So as I said earlier, can you please give this show a 5-star rating wherever you listen? Apple Podcasts and Spotify is where the show is most listened to. So I'd love to see your 5-star ratings there. If you're on Apple Podcasts, you can give the show a review as well. I'd love to get some new reviews. I've had some old ones still up on the platform, so I'd love to get some new reviews from you out there. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well so we can keep that going. And also, if you're into Patreon, the show does cost me money to get edited every week and so forth. So you could shout my editor a coffee. It's $5 for a month. You're not locked in forever, so you can do it for 1 month and that'd be awesome. Or you can do it every month and that would be absolutely amazing. But what that does, it helps contribute to the editing costs of the podcast. So for as little as $5 a month, you can become a Patreon. Support the show, keep it on the airways. That would really be helpful in managing my own Sunday blues in regards to continuing with this podcast. But yeah, if you could do that, that would be awesome. Well, that's it for today. I hope you got something out of it, something of value, something of worth. Love to hear your feedback. Send me a DM, send me an email, connect with me somehow. If you see me in the street, stop me and say, hey, I love this about this episode. Keep going. All those comments keep me lit up and going and help me to combat my own Sunday blues and Mondayitis. Well, that's it, guys. Until next time, stay mindful. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode, and I hope you got some value from it. If anything triggered your mental health today, please reach out to your support networks. Also, if you loved what you heard, be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your mates. For more from Mindful Men, you can check us out on Instagram and YouTube, and I'll throw the links to these pages in the show notes below. But until next time, stay mindful.